South Africa is experiencing its highest unemployment rate since 2022. The latest stats show an increase from 32.9% in the first quarter of this year to 33.5% in the second quarter. Is this unique to South Africa, or do global trends show a significant number of jobs being shared across the globe? Development economist Phelisa Nkomo joins us now to help us understand how unemployment figures translate on a global scale. Thank you so much for joining us, Phelisa, and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good morning, Masichab, and good morning to the viewers at home.
This is quite alarming considering the fact that the unemployment levels are already at an unacceptable rate in South Africa. But how do we compare globally? Is this unique to us?
It is a little bit unique comparing to us. In fact, one of the key things that the global economy has really been struggling to do is to recover from COVID. And as such, several countries have really introduced, fiscal stimulus interventions. And for us, one of the things that we've really been struggling with, it's not only industrial output recovery, but also we have also introduced austerity measures, which is in this context, austerity measures from a fiscal policy perspective is that they are counter-cyclical, and in essence, they do undermine supply and demand side of the economy. Because the role of the fiscal policy is to actually support the economy when the economy is actually not doing well. So what we've done in our case, we've actually not been able to come into the party to support the economy. That's the first thing. And I think, so what it does is that it undermines all other efforts. I think the second issue, of course, is the issue of, increase in the interest rates. So what that means is that firstly, households are not spending a lot, meaning that's one, but also two, particularly businesses. Businesses are not pursuing any of their expansion plans, but also it also means that they are reducing staff intake. They're reducing or they're retrenching staff. But also something else as well is that the cost of capital is becoming higher. So everyone else, they're risk averse in as far as undertaking any form of investment. So and there are actually then other domestic confluence issues in South Africa, in that over the years we've had our industrial capacity reducing to 19%, meaning that, just in simple terms, Mashaba, meaning that 80% of the goods and that we consume in this country actually is coming from outside, and only 19% that is coming within, so that is being manufactured or produced within the country. And obviously that makes our economy extremely vulnerable. But also profoundly, one of the key things, of course, this creates an opportunity for a different type of what we call organization of our industrial architecture. So the Minister of Trade and Industry needs to have a conversation with various companies to really talk about what type of structural reforms they should be pursuing to make it sure that the economy actually takes off the ground. And part of that is also linked to allocation of resources. That's one. The second one is to really look at and address the structural constraints in terms of skills mismatch. So South African economy, as a result of deindustrialization, we have not been able to actually build human capital that is in alignment with the needs of the economy. But also what has also been happening, South African economy has really been shifting to services industry. What makes that problematic is that because our economy is kind of like dualistic in terms of its organization, it means that people who are unskilled and semi-skilled will never be able to be absorbed in the economy.
All right, Phelisa, now the data shows a general increase in labor participation rates for both men and women. What does this say about the gender workforce equality or inequality?
Well, I do think that is a really a massive issue. In fact, if you look at the number of women who are unemployed, and it's sitting at 38%, particularly Black women. And I really like, by the way, I just want to applaud this time around the State SA, is that their data is actually seem to be quite comprehensive, because as heterodox economists have always struggled about the exclusion of people who are in the informal sector. So they've expanded. You can tell now, you can see that we're sitting at almost 48.9%. So women are actually 38 and these are Black women who are actually relying on social security. But also interestingly as well is that women, even though we constitute majority of the population, women are only 7.1% that actually participate in labor market, and men is actually 9.2%. And that 2% gap is very important in the light of the 33.5%. So it means that it's actually true that women are actually experiencing labor discrimination. They're actually experiencing discrimination in labor market. The third issue, by the way, is also young people. I mean, the number of young people who are unemployed, actually, for me, it's staggering. And it's actually a shock. And the longer we take to find specific interventions to integrate younger people, we're going to be in trouble.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, Phelisa Nkomo is the development economist and Oxfam board member, talking about the recent stats that reveal an increase, very significant increase in the rates of unemployment in South Africa.